but that just means I'm going to start very slowly beginning the meeting, and then everybody will show up at 10:31. It's the agenda. The agenda is in the chat. Please feel free to follow along. It's a pretty light agenda. I got to get more things on the agenda for next month. I keep reminding myself, I'm making myself feel better by reminding myself that Bob had a slow start last year, but Bob had an excuse. He had a baby. I just had like life. I don't know. I could have a secret baby. I could pretend to have a baby. None of you would ever know. Okay, but with that, I think I've stalled long enough. It's 10:31 now. We're officially starting. Hello! Welcome to the Koha-US General Meeting for February 2025. It's a pleasure to have you all here.
Are we recording yet? Okay, I'm just curious.
The recording on these meetings starts automatically now. I go in and shave off like the first few minutes of dead time. But yeah, they start going automatically.
That said, though,
I never saw the thing when I logged in that said this is being recorded, so I was just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, it is indeed.
Yeah, I also didn't get that little notification, but I do see in the corner of the Zoom window that it is recording. So
the first few meetings that get shaved off are sometimes the most entertaining.
Swore I was doing a little dance.
The minute it's like all of this stuff right now is what's going to get lost, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I guess if you want to say something terrible that will get chopped out of the meeting, now's your chance.
No, don't do it.
Oh, John got the message. That's good. Maybe I just clicked past it.
I got the message. Twice.
Cool. All right. Well,
you got George's message.
Yeah. With that, I will move us into announcements. We have two things on there already. The first is KohaCon 2025. Call for proposals for session presentations is open. This is KohaCon International in New Zealand this year. My understanding is they are only doing in-person presentations.
There is a checkbox on it that says, like, can you be there in person or not?
And maybe that's confirmation, or maybe they're keeping open the possibility that they will allow some
That's how they vet you out.
Yeah. Anyway, I encourage you all to get to attend and enjoy the Koha International Conference. I don't think I'll be making it to New Zealand. It's a bit of a slog. But if you can swing it, go for it. A wonderful excuse. Anybody have further thoughts or questions on KohaCon 2025? Now, does the rotation for that put it back in the States next year, or is it not New Zealand, not the States next year? Can't remember that one.
I don't know. I think I vaguely remember it's not supposed to be on the same continent 2 years in a row. So it was like North America last time, but I don't know if it can come back to North America already.
I think they loosened up those rules a little bit when we had the pandemic because it couldn't be anywhere. And then the year after the pandemic, nobody volunteered to host it. So,
well, if you're looking to get started with KohaCon International, this might not be the easiest year. Other years will be easier. This year will be more exciting.
But it is the 25th anniversary.
Yeah, so it's a big deal. Our other announcement on the agenda is that February's cataloging SIG meeting is canceled. That was for tomorrow. So no cataloging SIG. You'll have to catalog on your own. Or, you know, go rogue and form your own cataloging splinter SIG and meet anyway.
I was going to say, I think Heather emailed the Koha-US email list about that. So everyone should have gotten the notice. I'm in light of that, I don't think I'm gonna send out an updated February meeting email just because it already went out. I
Yeah.
took it off the calendar, so I think we're squared away. Anyone?
I think we're good, but I will say I did not get a email in my work email. I did through the treasurer's email, but not through my work email, which should be where Koha-US messages go.
I didn't get anything either.
Do either of you happen to remember if you are specifically on the cataloging SIG mailing list?
No, probably
Don't
not.
think I am.
Okay,
I'll,
that
I'll look,
explains
but
it.
I'll double check. It might be Heather just hit the SIG members and like officers specifically. But
It said Koha US list.
It
Oh.
did.
look
On the
into what-
side note, if anybody shows up, it'll still record.
Yeah.
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 I want to try and get my catalogers on it.
I guess my point being is I want to make sure the Koha-US email list is up to date.
Yeah. I will look into what that list was and why it did not include people. Not officially on the announcements, but I also want to mention the Koha-US Development Forum. Blanking on like actual name. Which is coming up in February, right? So Sarah Cornell sent an email out to that, also to the Koha-US list. So I'm wondering if you all got that one. Announcing the Developing Koha Together forum on February 25th.
I'm also working on posting it on the website right now as you speak.
Cool. Yeah, I know we've been talking about this one. There was a survey up on the Koha-US website last month looking for topics. But yeah, the date has been set for that for February 25th. I'll just paste this email into the chat right now. That's coming to us from our friends on the Koha Education Committee, or subcommittee, I guess they are. So primarily Sarah and Laura, who I don't see here.
I don't see that meeting on the Koha-US calendar or on the Koha community calendar. So I thought I'd mention that.
Yep. Christopher, you said you're putting it on the website now. You're putting it on like the calendar or a particular web page, or both.
Both.
Thank you, sir.
What? Okay, I'll talk about it. Sure, Bob. It's a forum that we're gonna have where we get developers together with users and answer questions, and we're collecting questions. I think that survey is still up on the website, so if you want to add to it, feel free to put your questions in there. And yeah, we just want to get together and talk about Koha and development and how we can make things better and contribute and that sort of thing.
I put the survey in the chat. It technically closed last week, but I bet they'll still look at your answers if you put things in there. And yeah, as I understand the point here, it's just to sort of continue to bring folks into the development process so that everyone can get more comfortable filing, signing off, working with bugs, working as a community to move Koha forward. Anybody else have announcements they would like to make at this time?
Well, I don't see the Koha Foundation Steering Committee on the agenda. We talked about putting that on every month.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'll
Thank
just
you.
talk about, we did have a meeting on the 21st of January. We talked about a mission and value statement, and I'm on the subcommittee that's drafting a mission statement. And currently the draft that hasn't been approved by the rest of the group is that the Koha Charitable Foundation promotes, protects, and enables the development of the Koha free and open source library system, and supports and facilitates the growth of a diverse and international community of Koha contributors and users. And then there's some currently 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 draft purpose statements to go underneath that. But that'll be discussed. Our next meeting is, I want to say, the 17th. Yes, the 17th of February. And one of the other things that we talked about at the December 21st meeting was the idea of making sure, one of the things that the steering committee wants to do is to try to encourage Koha users, rather than people working at businesses that make a profit off of Koha, to be the ones running this foundation. They think that it looks better as a nonprofit if it's not being run by companies or the employees of companies that make a profit off of the software. So there's going to be a strong push to try to make sure that people that don't work, that actual library users, librarians, are the ones that are driving the organization. And then there was a discussion about ways to try to have a minimum requirement for representation from different parts of the world, to try and to have a bare minimum of 2 continents representative, but to shoot for, that would be the bare minimum, but the goal would be all 6 of the inhabited continents, or at least the continents not inhabited solely by penguins. And there was a discussion, we got into the issue of membership and bylaws, and we just started touching the surface of that. And I gave them links to our bylaws because there were some things that we talked about that Koha-US does in its bylaws, particularly the how to elect officers and how to structure the officer portion of the governance in such a way that it's not like one person being the president for life or anything like that. So that's what we've been working on. And there's, like I said, the next meeting will be on the 17th. If anybody actually wants to attend the meeting just to watch, you're welcome to do that. Just let me know, and I can get you a link to that Zoom link for that meeting. So, and I'm happy for if anybody has any questions now. So,
am I correct in my memory that while attendance in these meetings is open, folks aren't invited to contribute generally?
that's I don't think suggestions or contributions would be hindered, but you're not going to get a vote on anything unless you're part of the committee. That's kind of the idea. So, or maybe I'm thinking of the Aspen Governance Committee.
I think I'm thinking of the Aspen thing. There's I think part of the Aspen governance setup has like only particular representatives get to talk.
Yeah, I think that's what you're thinking of. Other people have, yeah.
That's correct. And it's not like we've actually held that rule very well, but that is the rule.
Yeah, I don't mean to make it sound draconian, just expectations of involvement. Yeah.
As far as, if anybody from this group wants to come to the steering committee, I'm sure the steering committee would love to see more people that actually work in libraries, and to have at least some input from them.
Yeah.
Because it is primarily people from ByWater and PTFS and Calyx and Catalyst, and it's mostly people working at businesses. There, as a matter of fact, the only 2 people officially on the committee that don't work for a business are myself and Sophia from Koha Law in France. Everybody else is working for a business. So that's really the kind of thing that is not sustainable in this kind of organization over the long term, because it's it's going to become an issue with the IRS if the whole organization is full of employees of a company like ByWater Solutions or PTFS Europe, and they're giving grants to themselves, essentially, that's not going to be sustainable as a 501c3 model. So that's one issue, but the goal really is to have a diverse group of people, and to get input from the people that actually use the software, not the people that are working the software, that are doing support for the software. So.
Well, thank you for getting in there, George, and being involved and reporting back.
Ready
So
to go.
I feel like I should encourage you all to get involved, but it feels like kind of an odd spot for me. Like, well, George says they don't need me, they need you all. But yeah, if you have some time and inclination and want to talk about governance, it's very important and fun, or at least important.
Well, and one thing I would say that is a difference between the Koha Foundation Steering Group and the Aspen Discovery Governance Committee is that the Koha Foundation doesn't have any plans on trying to manipulate, take over, or change the governance of Koha, because Koha already has that stuff worked out really well. That's one thing that the entire group agrees on, is that there's no need to change the way that Koha gets a development from idea to patch to QA to into the software. That structure in Koha already exists. And how Koha elects its, release maintainers and release managers and all that stuff, that already exists, and that's grown from the grassroots up, and there's no need really to change that. What the idea is of creating this foundation is to give the Koha community a place to gather, collect, and distribute money, to promote the use of the software, and to promote development of the software, because that's something right now that it doesn't have. So one example of that would be the conferences. Right now, there's no way, if you guys wanted to donate money to the Koha conference coming up in New Zealand, there's no way really to do that. It's up to the organization which I imagine is Calix in New Zealand, is probably the main sponsor. And so if you want to get involved in helping to pay for and plan that conference, it's really a matter of getting to them. And that's one thing that the Koha Charitable Foundation could take on, as being a place where you could donate money to help support the conference, and have it even be tax deductible. So.
Anybody have thoughts or comments on, I'm going to mess up the name now, the Koha community? Oh, sorry, George. Lost the official name.
The Koha Charitable Foundation is what we've settled on as the
Thank you.
official name.
Koha Charitable Foundation. I want community in there so bad. Just used to community. All right, then I think that brings us to our item of new business, which is the vote on additional conflict of interest policies in the bylaws.
Yes, so this is primarily to get my ducks rode up. So Christopher has the form on the website. I need to email out, letting people know that it's open. And I don't think we ever established how long are we going to keep the vote open.
I think the bylaws specify that, and it's at least a week. It might be 2.
Yeah, it is also my memory that it's in the bylaws, and I'm pulling that up. Voting polls shall remain open at least 1 week following the vote. I'm okay with going a little longer too, like a.
You want to do 2 weeks for this?
Yeah. So reiterating case folks didn't get that email because we've had a little email confusion. There will be a ballot going out to vote on an amendment to the bylaws to add conflict of interest wording. I don't know why I'm saying all this when Christy has been organizing it.
That's okay.
I'm stealing your words, sorry.
No, it's not a steal, it's an assist. So on that note, there are email lists aplenty to send this out to. So I'm thinking Koha 2025 membership, Koha 2024 membership, and Koha-US.
That makes sense.
No, not the Koha-US list. Just
Why?
and even technically it should just be the 25 list. We can open it to 24 because there's a lot of overlap and the discussion did start then. And it's our discretion as the board to want to open it up to both membership lists, but not the regular generic list because they're not members and they don't get to vote.
Okay, so the 2025 membership list and the 2024 membership list.
Yes. And the 2025 membership list is up to date except for one person who just paid yesterday. So the 2025 list is all set and ready to go once I add that one person who is also in this room, or at least used to be. Yes, is in this room.
Okay. So is there any, it's a busy day for me, but if I send this out later today or tomorrow morning, does that work for everybody?
Yeah.
Okay. And you know what? I'm going to try to write an email, but I don't do these voting emails very often, so be gentle on me.
If you're sitting in this meeting right now or watching this recording later and you're uncertain of whether or not you are a Koha-US member, like paid in good standing, please check with John. But yeah, we do want the voting. While we're happy to announce that voting will happen to everyone, only paid members get to vote, which could be a nice reminder to get your membership in order.
Okay, I'm feeling better about that. 2 weeks, 2 lists, today or tomorrow. And big thanks to Christopher for getting that form on the website.
Big thanks to both of you for following up on that after last month's meeting. Y'all, this concludes the new business on our agenda. I'll take one point of personal privilege to say last month I asked for topics for future guest speakers. The one suggestion we got was someone to talk about the future of the cereals module. I'm working to line up somebody to talk about cereals at next month's meeting. That said, when I searched my brain for who's excited about cereals and wants to talk about them, nobody super jumped to mind. So if you love cereals, let me know. I mean, heck, even if you have really strong feelings about what cereals should do that it doesn't do now, let me know. My general sense is that everybody looks at cereals and gets kind of sad and tired.
Because they're not sugary bombs of goodness like Captain Crunch or Golden Grahams.
Yeah. We should just replace cereals with a cereal module.
People would be much happier.
Yes, very much so.
But tangential to that, if there are other topics, Koha or Koha adjacent, that you would like discussed at future meetings, organizations you'd like to hear from, cereal mascots, somewhere I have a photograph of myself with Captain Crunch, we could just stare at it for 10 minutes. But yeah, let me know. Otherwise, that moves us into open discussion about bugs, issues, etc. Anybody got a fun bug they're excited about?
By the way, I have the developer forum on the calendar now. So you can find that on February 25th.
Thank you so much. I expected somebody to jump in with a bug that they're all excited about. There's usually something.
I know they're probably gonna be a lot discussed at the What's New webinar ByWater's putting on this afternoon.
Oh yeah, that's
24/11.
worth mentioning. That's coming up shortly, the 24/11 What's New. So if you are looking forward to or ahead to, I guess, the 24/11 upgrades, be a good chance to see what's coming there. I've seen a couple of little things from early adopters, but nothing huge as far as like stuff that's not working or not showing up.
I can jump in at the web dev sig last month. We started a little spreadsheet to keep track of some things. Like the upgrade is upgrading Bootstrap from like 3 to 5 in the staff client and 4 to 5 in the OPAC, which affects some things. So Christopher started a spreadsheet for us, and George wrote out some documentation as well on how to make changes to your underlying code if you've got some Bootstrap customizations that need updated. So I put the spreadsheet in the chat, and I started just putting in bugs that I'm also coming across as I poke around at it on my test server. And if other people want to contribute, please do. I don't know, Christopher has control of the edit rights on the spreadsheet, so if you want to be added to be able to edit it, ask him, or you can just send it to us and we can add it ourselves.
Yeah, just email me at admin@koha-us.org.
Thank you.
George and I posted a training video that talked about a few things that we ran into initially. The major one with the check-in bug on holds that are already waiting. I just saw an announcement go out that has been pushed for the next release for the 24/11 update. So it will be out there and fixed by the time you get upgraded.
That was a deeply annoying bug in which if you take a hold that's currently on the hold shelf and check it in,
local hold.
Previous to the upgrade, yeah, Koha would pop you up a little thing that said, this is supposed to be on the hold shelf. What do you want to do with it? Do you want to cancel the hold? And it was like the easiest way to get a single hold off the hold shelf, pushed to the next patron. But it just kind of like forgot to give you that pop-up, which was pretty annoying.
Has that bug link handy, that would be helpful.
Yes. Somewhere.
Who can get to it first?
38919? Yeah. But yeah, that's patched and pushed to 24/11/02. If you are a ByWater early adopter, your system is probably on Koha 24/11/01 right this very moment. But the reason I had that bug link handy was because we were over in the ByWater chat discussing how we need to get that code on everybody's early adopter, on all the early adopter sites sooner rather than later. So expect that to show up soon. But yeah, the bootstrap change that Jason mentioned, seems like it will probably be the most pervasively disruptive part of this upgrade, just because it's kind of a big like change to the underlying display code. So yeah, customizations might get weird, will get weird. Well, that was my slow and deliberate drink of tea, waiting for other people to unmute themselves.
I was just gonna say, I see some new names and that makes me happy. If you are new here, is there a particular reason that brought you here today or something you wanted to bring up? This is sort of our open forum time. If not, just know that we're very glad to see you.
Yeah.
Christy, that's excellent. Put them on the spot. Very first time they're here.
Well, I didn't call out names. I'm just saying happy to see you. And if you've got something you'd like to bring up, we're all ears.
You know, I was at the Koha community dev meeting first thing this morning, and they keep a shared agenda document in which everybody types in who they are and where they're from, which is not like not a bad practice for just sort of remembering who was there. But I don't know. It also feels a little bit grade schooly. Everybody record your attendance here.
Only if you start out the meeting with everyone saying, "Good morning, teacher," or "Good morning, president."
Yeah, well, maybe we need a pledge that we can all chant together. Oh, I really, I feel bad having said that. Let's strike that joke.
I remember, random thought, but when we would go on field trips in kindergarten, like so that you would remember which car you came in, they would give you like an animal in a colored animal. So it'd be like, if you are red elephants, you need to stay with the other red elephants for the day, or like blue bears, or you know, you get the idea.
Yeah, I don't share that experience at all, but I like it.
Yeah,
I don't share it either. Didn't go to kindergarten, and my class was so small. They threw 9 of us in a car and went on a field trip.
Yep,
I remember it's
nor me.
maybe it was just for our zoo field trip, but I remember like it was a good way to remember who you needed to find at the end of the day.
Maybe you were in a school that had a lot more money for things like red elephants.
They were just like the little paper, you know, those machines that are in the teacher's lounge that cut out the shapes that go on the bulletin boards.
We didn't have those either.
I do like kind of the idea of signing in because you don't know everybody, so that's kind of nice. You know, you can put a face to a name, or when you meet with somebody at the conference, you kind of know who they are.
Yeah. Well.
Or an introduction here at the meetings.
Well, hello, my name is Christine and I am a newbie.
Welcome.
Thanks for coming to Peer Pressure.
Well, you know, I was thinking about hopping on, but Fred is actually the person who told me I should check this out. And then when he popped on, I was like, well, then I guess I have to introduce myself. I am a head of e-resources and default systems librarian at an academic library that has Koha self-hosted and Primo as our discovery service. And I don't know a whole lot about using either of them. It's kind of a big quagmire to me. So I'm always looking to learn wherever I can. And this seemed like a place to just kind of pop in and kind of hear what's going on and yeah, just mainly observing. So, but thanks for having an open forum for people. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks
Yeah,
for joining us.
I said I can help you with Koha, but you lose me when you get to discovery systems.
Sure. Well, this does not tend to be our most like worky meeting. If you find yourself with specific questions you want to like chase down, the special interest groups are probably the place to go for those sorts of things. But obviously, we also do tend to have a chunk of open time here that is just sort of for whatever has gotten under somebody's bonnet.
I find that my brain connects dots that I don't know are there sometimes. So sometimes just listening to things and then in 3 months, I'm going to be like, wait a minute, I heard this, like, and also I have a couple of listservs that I'm on that are like that. And then I try to hop on other things that I'm like, wait a minute, okay, yeah.
I think a lot of Koha works on the, I think I heard someone talk about a bug related to that 2 months ago model.
Yes.
The systems administrator meeting on, what is it, the second Tuesday of the month?
Yeah.
Would be a good one to attend. I'll throw our calendar into the chat here. The next
one
one's
is it-
gonna be February 11th.
And that's a very wide ranging SIG because it's basically whatever's in administration
Yeah.
or connected to what's in administration.
Oh,
Basically
amazing.
has
Thank
everything.
you.
I should warn you, I went to one and I didn't understand anything they were talking about.
Well, I probably won't either at first, so it's okay.
Oh, and just in case you missed the message, Heather had to cancel the cataloging SIG meeting tomorrow.
Right. Well, folks.
Well, I do have sort of a question.
Yeah.
First of all, as they said earlier, sorry I'm late. Kind of forgot it was Wednesday, and if I did get a reminder from Outlook, I just dismissed it. Life's been weird lately. But anyway, I helped set up a library in Thailand, and now they are wanting to print spine labels using the non-Roman alphabet, since they'd really like to have them in Thai. And I've been looking into it, but I haven't really fiddled around too much. Looks like I'm going to have to go into the code and allow plugins and then learn the plugin cataloging plugin, which I tried before and didn't work. Is there an easier way?
I'm not sure why you would need plugins for that. Like,
Looks like there's one that says enable plugins 1 or 0.
What do you need a plug? Like, I don't think any plugin should be required to print labels or to print labels in a, non-English alphabet or non-Latin alphabet.
Yeah, we print in Arabic. I know, or spine labels.
Yeah, I would think if that's the alphabet used in your call numbers, and I mean, Koha should be able to display those.
I should
Yeah,
back.
they're getting
Sorry.
little squares.
Yeah, I should back
So
out
you're
first to
getting little
diacritics.
squares with the built-in label creator.
Yes.
Do you mean they get little squares in the label, but not like in the record? Like if they're
Correct.
looking at the, oh,
Yeah, they print a PDF or create one and little squares showing something isn't there.
So I think the issue there is that the font that Koha is using and the font that is installed on the is not exactly the same as the font installed on the computer. I think it's an
Yes.
issue that could be solved by making sure that the font on the computer for printing in that language matches the font that you're using in Koha. I think that's the issue is it's an issue with Adobe or however you said you're printing them as PDF, right?
Yes.
And it comes out fine in the PDF?
No.
No.
That's where the little squares are.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm just guessing here actually. But
Yeah.
it seems like the issue is going to be a PDF issue, not a
Is there a
I'm
way
not
to
sure.
add? Is there a way to add a font in the built-in label maker?
Yes. So there's a system preference for for CSS specifically for labels. I can't remember what it's called right now.
Looks like Jason has what's going on.
Oh. See, yeah, Jason heard about a bug 2 months ago.
Yeah.
That somebody else talked about.
I think that you probably can work around this issue without the patch though, but I would read through that and see.
Yeah.
I know
Good
that
idea. Thank you.
in the past, SEKLS has had issues when I first started working here, where we had a non-standard font that because SEKLS for a time was not running community Koha, it was running the libline Koha. There was a non-standard font installed in the server when we were using libline Koha. And when we transitioned to community Koha, there was an issue with every time we would do an upgrade, the label creator would break because of an issue with our font set. And I think eventually we got that fixed by having ByWater change the fonts on our server. But I am not, I mean, that was like, 8 years ago. So I'm not fully aware. I mean, it was right after I started here, so it's been at least 8 years ago. But it was an issue where there was a font installed on our server that wasn't a normal part of the Koha package. And so that might be part of the issue too. So I really, but a lot of that, we got around a lot of those issues by making sure that we had the right fonts on the computers we were using until the overall problem was fixed by fixing our font sets on the server.
Okay. I think I understood that.
Wow. Yeah, that altogether pushes us into a level of system fonts and program fonts that I don't know how that works.
It was complicated and it was long enough. Larry fixed it. That's how long ago it was. So
yeah.
System fonts and program fonts and little Lamsey Divey.
I think there's only 3 people here that understand that reference, and we all have
I
gray
was just
hair.
adding that up.
There's the dotes and dozy dotes and the little like MC Diary.
Diddly divey too, wouldn't you?
Problem with being my age is all my cultural references aren't understood by most people.
We learned that in music class in elementary school, where we did not get paper animals.
Now that we've covered the deep meat of Koha and does that eat oats and so forth, I think we've expended all the fun we can have in this meeting. Unless someone has another topic they wish to introduce, I am slow rolling us toward a close of meeting. The conference planning meeting will follow this meeting after a 10-minute break, but it will be in the Zoom link on the conference planning meeting on the calendar, because last month we left poor Wally out in the cold. And let's not do that again. We'll go over to the other meeting like we're supposed to.
Okay.
And I will end this meeting then.
All right.
Great.
Thank you all for coming. We'll see you next.
See y'all later.
So.